Characteristic of Stravinsky is his uncanny ability to come up with a very cool sound that nobody's heard before. I think he does it largely by fooling around at the piano. What's remarkable is that, well, he was an expert pianist, and so many of his amazing sounds happen to lie under the fingers at the piano. Maybe it's just an accident, but I doubt it. Anybody who knows their Stravinsky will know. Know that sound? That percussive chord is what begins Stravinsky's Symphony of Psalms. And it's a remarkable thing. It's just an E minor chord, spaced very far apart with 2 extra Gs. So there are 4 Gs, and you can just barely reach it on the piano. And that's how the Symphony of Psalms begins, and all those Gs have a lot of implications for what's going to happen next. Or they're just amazing sound. That kind of squeeze box sound alternating between 2 harmonies, that's a sound out of his ballet Petrushka that everybody would recognize. Or cool. That's another sound out of the ballet Petrushka. Very simple. 2 chords played at the same time. Cool. There's a word for music in 2 keys at the same time, polytonality, which is actually the next category too. It's one of the ways of making interesting melodies or sounds is to have 2 keys going at once. But this sound, or here's another sound. This is the first sound that's danced to in The Rite of Spring. And it's another one of those things you find on the piano. It's quite, you could think of it this way. This chord, Schubert would like that. This chord, Schubert would like that. Those 2 chords played at the same time. Somehow you don't recognize it as that, do you? Well, Stravinsky likes it so well that he plays it about 50 times in a row at the beginning of The Rite of Spring. It's the first thing that happens when the curtain goes up. And it's an amazing chord. In the music theory tutorial part of the First Night's website, you'll find another way of thinking about that same chord that has to do with how can I arrange a chord that has the maximum number of dissonances in it. There's more than one way to think about these things. So polytonality is another thing that can happen. You can have polytonal sound by just playing 2 chords, that is representatives of 2 keys at the same time. It's the kind of thing that that's the spooky sound that Stravinsky finds for the opening of the second part of the ballet. Oops, that's not it. Nope. Yeah. Amazing, haunting sound. Or you can play a melody in 2 keys at the same time. It drove some of the critics crazy. But to me, at least, it doesn't sound like a melody being played in 2 keys at the same time. It sounds like a melody being played on an instrument with just remarkable overtones, a different tone quality that we've never heard before. Here's an example of such a thing. And so on. Just 2 clarinets playing the same thing, but at a very unusual interval. So that's a characteristic of much of Stravinsky's music. I've put the word ostinato there. You may know what's meant by ostinato. It's the Italian word for obstinate. And it's a word we use when somebody does the same thing over and over and over again, let's say obstinately. It only becomes